I'm Benjamin Hall, and I'm searching for heroes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me again. And this week you are only going to hear my voice. Now, I hope that is okay with you. But what I wanted to do is play to you a talk that I gave last week. I was very lucky to be asked to give a commencement talk at a university at the Institute of World Politics. And it's something I've always hoped I would be able to do. It's that moment where you get to sort of hopefully inspire graduates. You get to really try and set them off well on the path that lies ahead, and hopefully use some of your own experiences as well to teach them what to do and perhaps what not to do. The Institute of World Politics is an incredible university as well. It's a graduate school, and effectively it empowers the next generation of national security experts. And it focuses on all the instruments of statecraft. So diplomacy, military strategy, public diplomacy, intelligence, counterintelligence, leadership. And everyone who graduates from there generally goes on to work in national security, in the intelligence departments, at the State Department, at the Department of Defense. And so really fascinating institution, and one that I was really, really honored to be asked to give their commencement speech just recently. So here it is, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Today is about you. It's not about me, it's about you. You're the ones who have gone through so much. You're the ones who are here today. You're the ones who have achieved so many great things. You're the ones who have so much ahead of you. I want to thank, first of all, the ambassador. Thank you so much for inviting me here. It's a pleasure, a real pleasure to speak to you today, and I'm honored to do so. I'm grateful that I was asked to speak today. I'm grateful that I'm being trusted to speak today at a moment that is so key to each one of you. And it is key in your life because this is the part of your life where one chapter ends and it is the beginning of a next. It is the beginning of a chapter where you get new freedoms, new responsibilities, new rewards. And there may also be great difficulties ahead. But you must meet both of them in exactly the same way. You are entering a chapter of your life where you get to go and try to change the world, particularly in the fields that you guys have chosen. And you get to go and seek to make it better. You seek to go and make an impact on the world, and there is nothing greater in life than being able to do that. It is a wonderful, wonderful place to be, but that will only happen if you put in the hard work, because none of this comes free, and you know that from the work you've put in so far. That work has to continue, and enjoy it while it comes. I was introduced so well right there that I will skip over my own introduction, but I will talk a little bit about what happened to me in Ukraine. But first of all, when I was preparing for today, I was trying to think what it is that I would say. What message did I want to convey? And I thought back to the speech I was given when I graduated. And first of all, I thought I better not bore you. So that will be my attempt. But secondly, I realized it's not about trying to tell you what to do now you've graduated. You can figure that out. You're incredibly intelligent. You've graduated from a remarkable school. It is instead perhaps a chance to remind you why you should do it and who you should do it for. Because it's not just for you individually. It's for you as a whole. It's for your country. It's for your community. That's what we must live for. That's what we must strive for. I also wish someone had told me as I was getting ready to embark what a great ride I was heading into. How these are your years of adventure. Try new things, experience as much as you can, meet, travel as much as you can, go and explore the world, enjoy every single second of it and don't waste it. Don't let fear stop you, and you will find a way through. It is only by understanding other people that you can seek to make our own country better. So learn and meet. And it's okay to be driven in life. It's okay to want to be the first one to get that story, the first one to get that interview, to sign a deal. I say that's all right. Go and compete.
Be brave about it, because you must make the first moves if you want anything to happen. But compete without greed. Do so with honesty. And don't get so carried away with your work that it takes over. There is more to life, remember, than just your job. You are building a rounded, multi-dimensional life. That's what makes it so amazing.
You're listening to Searching for Heroes with Benjamin Hall. We'll be right back.
You're at IWP. It's a remarkable school. And that means that to a certain degree, you've already taken the first step. You found your passion. You know what interests you, and you've picked a path. And that's a path that has great, great significance. Will have great impact. And like you, I was the same. I wanted to cover the world, geopolitics, governments, military, conflict resolution. I wanted to see it and breathe it and live it. Now, I chose to go and become a journalist. And by the way, I apologize in advance for how often we will probably bother you. It is a great dance between journalists and the government all the time, but it is one that is essential. So, my career, as the ambassador was saying, took me to many war zones, and each one was very different. But each one, in many ways, was very similar. And I say similar because other than fear and suffering and tragedy, they were similar because they were all full of bravery, courage, resilience, honor, compassion, generosity. It's not often spoken about, but it's one of the things that surprised me most, that even in war, even in the toughest times, there is more good than there is bad. And that's what you have to focus on. That what you do adds to the good. That what you go out and do, even in the harshest environment, seeks to hold back the bad, and that you live and work in a way that makes us better, makes community better. And in doing so, you add to education, you'll add to freedom, you'll add to fairness, you will protect those who need it. And always make sure you talk to people you agree with and talk to people you disagree with. It is a sad moment right now, I feel, where so many people are so enveloped in their own ideas that they refuse to talk or discuss or debate with those on the other side. Never, ever forget to do that. And look, you're a long way off this, but what you do in your lives, in government, protecting our country, will leave something behind for the next generation, something that is lasting. And you are in the best place to do that. You head into a world that you chose, and so embrace it. Be proud of the position you are in, but again, be humble. Now look, this new chapter of life, it's not easy. I've said there are ups, there are downs. And boy, were there moments in my life where I wondered if I'd made the right decision. Middle of the night, lying on the Syrian border in a small ditch, Syrian Assad troops 20 feet away, holding torches, looking for us, holding my breath, trying not to move. Then crossing a strong river up to our necks in water, pitch black, body armor held high over our heads, again alongside a group of hardened rebel fighters who at the time were wearing nothing but red underpants and carrying AK-47s. And boy, did the question come up, should we be here? Was this the right decision to make? But look, we got through. We went behind enemy lines. We lived in the caves with the rebels, and we told a remarkable story about people standing up in the face of oppression. We recorded Syrian troops for the first time opening fire onto women and children. And that, for me, made it worth it. I remember bartering my sunglasses once to get onto an illegal weapons shipment into Libya, into Misrata, again, with some dubious rebels. And that was on the day that Tim Hetherington and Chris Hondros, two journalists, they died that day in the city that we were going to. But still, we decided that we had to go. And that is because you do difficult things, because you have to hope something good will come out of it. That if more people know, someone might help. Perhaps more than anything, it is about the truth. It's about learning more. We should never give up trying to improve, trying to help, trying to let people know what's going on. Many of the careers you're going into will do just that. And that's what we were doing in Ukraine in March 2022. It was our small team with Fox, and we were just outside Kyiv. We were in a small town called Horenka, totally abandoned, totally bombed to the ground, and we had filmed. We'd done a great day recording, and I remember thinking, this is great. We're going to show the people the atrocities, the damage that has been carried out by the Russians. And as we were driving our way back towards Kyiv, we slowed down at an abandoned checkpoint, and that first missile came out of the air. And it's a sound I know all too well. It's a missile, it's a whistle. And it landed about 30 feet in front of us. quick attempt to turn this car around, but the car stalled, and a few seconds later, the second one landed right alongside the car. Blacked me out, big shrapnel in my neck and in my eye. And I was there in that darkness, and I saw my daughter right in front of me, right there. She just said to me, "Daddy, you've got to get out of the car. You've got to get out of the car." And I came back, and I reached for the door of the car. Pierre Cameron had already gotten out, and I grabbed for it, and I took one step out of the car, and then the third bomb hit the car itself. And that threw me away, and I passed out, and I woke up on fire. Leg was gone, my foot was gone, bleeding all over. And so began a 40-minute wait with no cell phone reception to try and figure out how to survive, how to get home. And I thought of one thing. It doesn't matter what situation you're in, you will find a way through, you will get home, you will do whatever it takes. I talked to Pierre for a while, and he passed away alongside me. Great brother of mine, great friend of mine. The other three, there was Sasha and there were two Ukrainians as well driving. They died in the car. But then began this incredible evacuation. And what I say is that one bad thing happened to me, but thousands of good things happened after that. So many people came to help me. And there's one great group called Save Our Allies, and a group of veterans, Medal of Honor winner, Bronze Star winner. They were across the border in Poland, and they set out to find me. Americans trying to find another American who was injured. And they did. They drove day and night right through towards the Russian lines. They found me in a little hospital. And then thanks to the intelligence community, we found out that the Polish Prime Minister was on the first visit to see Zelensky. And if we could break through the lines together, if I could stay alive, the Polish Prime Minister would escort us. And we did that. We went checkpoint to checkpoint, opening up my wounds, no painkillers, in and out. And we finally, with minutes to spare, made it to this train. And we got on that train, and we had 10 hours of ride out. That was a life-changing moment where I had to think about, what is it inside us that keeps us going? What do we live for? And at the other end, I knew that American troops were waiting. Pentagon had told us that they can't come in to get me, but if I could make it to Poland, they would take me and take care of me. And there it was, another generation. American troops around the world saving someone who was in trouble. It happened to my father, and he talked about running towards American troops and being lifted up. And there was that moment where I was taken off the train, there was a Black Hawk waiting, and the air crew came towards me and they grabbed me, and I had this incredible sense that for a second generation, I was being saved by American troops. And I will forever be trying to pay that back. The community came to save me, and you guys are going to be part of that community. And I stand here as someone who was saved by that community. So bear that in mind. You make a real difference, and you will. But I think more than anything, what I've learned most, there is a way through everything. It doesn't matter how bad it may seem, you can beat it. And if there is no clear way out, if there's no easy solution, don't stop trying. Find a way through. And I'm a firm believer now that there is also more strength inside all of us than we know about. I learned that in Ukraine. I learned that on that train ride, that you have the ability to stop, take a breath, calm yourself down in the face of fear, and tell yourself you'll be okay and you can get through it, and you will. And don't delay. Don't put anything off. I spent 7 months in the Brooke Army Medical Center in Texas, being treated by military medicine, and I was spent every day trying to get better. And if I walked 3 steps on one day on my new legs, I would walk 4 the next. And I did that for me, I did it for my family, but I did it for those who were reaching out. Those are the people who were willing me on, because I knew they were putting their time, their effort into helping me, and I certainly wasn't going to let them down. When I needed it, again, the community came to support me. I'm wary of speaking of anything that's going on around the world right now, but look, many of you will be faced with very difficult decisions in your careers, and you will be asked to help and find a way through, try to find a solution to impossible circumstances, sometimes when both sides are part at fault, and perhaps both sides are at times right. You will have to decide, how do you judge that? Who do you help? But for me as a journalist, I got to write down both sides of the story. It seemed much easier for me. That's what I get to do. But for you, it will be harder. In government, geopolitics, it's a lot harder. So I would say, remember one thing, as I try to do. Above all, remember that you are there to best serve the people you represent. the people you care about, the people you want to protect. That's what you've got to do. You keep them safe. Now, for me, it was my readers that I represented at work. But for you, that's your neighbors, your citizens, your family members. They're the people you're going to represent. That's the path you've chosen. That's why it's so important. One other thing I wish I'd learned earlier is that not everything happens quickly. That's rarely the case. You must build, you must focus on doing the right things, the best things. You must make contacts, be kind to people, find your community. And don't just think of where you're going. It's not the end goal that counts. Enjoy the ride, enjoy the moment itself. Don't forget that. And I remember in the hardest days in hospital, I would always make a point of thinking about the beautiful things in life. A ray of sunlight, a great piece of music, of my wife. Because giving yourself something positive on those bad days, that lifts you up. Find what that is. Find what lifts you up. And don't fear loss. I stand here, but never once have I thought, I lost a leg, I've got no feet, I see out of one eye. No, I think I've got one leg. I've got one eye. I'm with my family. That's the greatest thing that ever happened to me. I don't think about the loss. I think about what I've still got. So put fear to the side. Think about it, yes. Realize where it is, then don't let it drive you. Understand why you're doing something, and once that decision has been made, go do it. Look fear right in the eye and don't shy away from it. In November, I went back to Ukraine, and I took that same train in that I took out, and I lay in the same place that I laid on the way when I was being evacuated. Why? Because I wanted to show that we might get knocked down, but we will get back up. That the Russians may have tried to stop freedom of speech, they might have tried to stop the truth, but we will keep coming. And that no matter where the bad guys are, we will keep trying to stop them. And I am insistent on that. I will work harder than I used to work because I believe that message is so important. You can't stop us. We're on the right side. You will be on the right side as you set out into your careers. So look at what lies ahead. Look at why you're doing it. Love every bit of it. Go and inspire, go and live, go and enjoy the world. Congratulations, you've done so well. Thank you very much.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that today. I spoke to a number of the students who I spoke to when I gave the speech and after I gave the speech, and it was fascinating listening to some of the specialties that they are looking into. Some of the specific areas of intelligence or of diplomacy, focusing on sometimes really minute little areas of the world and trying to figure out how that would impact something else and how the US should respond. And so it did fill me with full of optimism about the future, certainly about the strong people who will be leading the way when it comes to national security and the State Department and the Department of Defense. And I do think that if people like the graduates who I spoke to are the ones who will be leading the way in the future, then I think that we are in a good place. So thank you very much for listening. I look forward to speaking to you all again next week, and all the best to you and to all your families. Thanks for listening to Searching for Heroes. Listen ad-free with a Fox News Podcasts Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app.